We are back in the regular order of business. Will the clerk please note that the attendance has remained the same? The next order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to add any item to the agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Commissioner Brenner?
Move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Gerard?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the agenda?
Commissioner Rivet?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Hilliker?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Nazetsky?
Yes.
Clements?
Yes.
Docket?
Yes.
7 yes.
Next order of business is the consent agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to make a change to the consent agenda? Commissioner Rivet?
Remove item 4, budget adjustments.
Item 4 has been removed. Are there any others? Just for the record, to the budget amendment. Yeah, we're good. Next order of business calls for public input on the consent agenda. This is the opportunity for citizens to remove an item from the consent agenda for consideration on the regular agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to make a change, please come to the microphone, sign the registration sheet, state your name and address for the record, and the item that you wish to have considered on the regular agenda. Seeing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda? Commissioner Brunner?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Gerard?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the consent agenda?
Commissioner Brunner?
Yes.
Hilliker?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Nazetsky?
Yes.
Clements?
Yes.
Docket?
Yes.
And Rivet?
Yes.
7 yes.
The recommendations as listed on the consent agenda have been approved. Next order of business is remarks of the mayor and commission. Do any members of the commission wish to make any remarks? Commissioner Brenner?
Actually, what I have is a question for the city manager. So through the chair to the city manager, were you able to find a response for commercial vehicles being parked on residential streets by chance?
Are you talking about the street that we always talk about on your street?
Yes, yes.
Are you looking for the ordinance?
Do we have an ordinance? I couldn't find one. I was wondering if there was something
So,
that I'm not seeing.
We have the ordinance, and I think Rachel has talked about before about truck routes, so we have the truck route ordinance. But as far as them parking on a street, I don't think that there is anything.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gerard?
Yes, thank you. A couple things. So we unfortunately had to postpone that Salzburg Business District meeting, so we're working on the date with Senator Rivet's team. So hopefully we'll have another date here soon. Hopefully we'll have some representatives from the city and then MDOT, and we had a contact potentially there, and MEDC to get those businesses some support. Also, I just wanted to comment on our last infrastructure subcommittee meeting, which is a good meeting. We brought an individual representative, Jason. What's Jason's last name from the MML?
John Lamaki.
Oh, I'm sorry, John Lamaki, not Jason. John Lamaki from Michigan Municipal League was in, kind of talked about with us about funding and where is the appropriateness of whose responsibility is it for some of these funding in the streets, especially our local and our neighborhood streets, as I call them. And you know, we get a lot of those comments, right? Our neighborhood streets there's a lot of areas that they're kind of falling behind. And you know, his perspective is the state really kind of dropped the ball to local municipalities. And you know, there's a lot of money going into streets, but they're not into the neighborhood streets. And that's, you know, a lot of the emphasis of this infrastructure subcommittee is how we can find ways to bring resources on infrastructure improvements into our neighborhoods. And because that's really, you know, probably 99% of the residents, that's what they want to see. And we've been working on it. And I think there's a disconnect of understanding. I mean, we've done more roads this last year than I've seen, but it's not, people aren't feeling it because it's not, in front of my house, right? And how do you put it in front of my house? Because 99% of the city will say, well, I want it in front of my house. And so part of it is going to be advocacy, what we talked about. We really need to advocate on a state level to just for them to understand and appreciate that resources need to be funneled somehow to us. There's also some discussion on how on a local level, how we can do some things with some of our local talent to fill the gaps and see how we do that, barring an influx of state cash for those neighborhood streets. We do, at that infrastructure subcommittee, get a nice report, and it highlights out really what's been going on in infrastructure. Pretty impressed. 2023, we had close to 500 lead water service line replacements. The sewer departments cleaned almost 50 miles, combined sewer and sanitary cleaned. Under engineering, almost 5 miles of reconstruction, resurfacing, and there's close to $4.5 million worth of grants in there. There's a lot of goals going on for this next year's streets. So there's going to be a lot of streets done. Hopefully we're going to continue the mantra. The next meeting, we don't have a date set. I'm hoping to bring in somebody from the federal government. We're working on that to see if that can happen. To have that conversation on that level too, to see through the feds, through the state, to the locals, to see if we can do something. Because we got to figure out how to do this, because that's more than not my conversation with a lot of people is those neighborhood streets. How do we get those done? So thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any others? Just want to echo Commissioner Gerard's report from the Infrastructure Subcommittee. There were more people from the community that showed up than normal at that meeting. I really appreciate that. That's something that I think people should do more of. Because the other thing is we can get into the details a little bit more, and it's a more informal environment. And when people start hearing all of like the full picture of what's going on, they start going, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. It's not that the people in this room don't know how to do things. There are serious problems that are really, really difficult challenges that we're trying to overcome. And it's really a valuable thing. So when the date does get announced, I would like to invite everybody out to it. It's going to be a great time. That's all I have. Thank you. Next order of business is the manager's report. Does the manager wish to make any remarks?
I have a couple items. The Bay County Leadership class was here in the building today as part of their government classes that they're taking. Barsha was here along with some state legislators. They got a tour of the building, which was nice. Some of them haven't been in City Hall before. Last week I attended a meeting regarding the Memorial Cup. We talked about this earlier with commission officers. They're talking about people coming to Bay City. Obviously, it's going to be in Saginaw County, but they're thinking it's going to reach out into Bay County and to Midland County. Our finance department is working on some budget projections. We are doing mid-year budget projections right now, so they're putting that together currently. And we are also working on getting some various groups together to do some programming in Winona Park this summer. So we're busy trying to put that together. Other than that, that's it.
All right, thank you. Next order of business calls for public input. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Clements will serve as timekeeper. This is the opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding any agenda item or any other matter. If anyone wishes to address the commission, please come forward, sign the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record.
Alex Stewart, 1309 South Erie. I want to start with, at the last meeting, I pulled some data from online about the Hay Bay City information and the progress on that. And while some of my information was correct, I was glad I was approached a few days later by the chamber to get the screenshots from the actual Google Analytics that were not presented here. And I do believe that that information probably should have been put forward originally, but I'm glad that I got the information. I could see that where their numbers kind of came from. There's a couple things I still, not quite, but it was close enough. I'm like, that's fine. And then I was really surprised to see this code ordinance for willful trespass. I didn't realize we didn't have something for that for motor vehicles before. That was, read that, oh, okay, I guess we should probably do that. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, there's a big ration increase in these people getting into the cars. It's like, not necessarily. A lot more people have motion cameras now and actual record things. This has been something that's happened on and off for years in different areas of town. You just have one shock jockey thinks he's so cool, he goes and just click, click, click one night, and no one caught him before because no one had cameras. Now a lot of people have cameras, so it's easier to catch them. So, good thing to get this done, but I just want to make sure that people understand that this has been happening for a long time. It's just getting noticed more now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Richard Spencer, 1427 Park Avenue, Bay City, Michigan. Probably remember if you're in the last meeting, I guess I did catch a lot of attention because I think I was stopped about 5 different commissioners and other people before I got on the elevator, so I must have caught somebody's ear anyhow. And you brought out a 72-hour notice of MDOT about we have to notify them. Well, that's fine. My main point was making things easier for the city people. And I did notice today that, and I hate to be a critic, they did have the Independence Bridge signs out, one on Center before you got to Trumbull, and one on Trumbull before you got to Center, headed north. So there was 2 signs there, and the one I seen down on Wilder, the only thing I personally would have had is I would have had it on the west side of Henry instead of the east side of Henry. That would make it a little easier. They could turn before they got down into the mess there. Now, I'll get into that in a minute here. My main thing was we're going to be into a mess. And let's prepare for the mess. And what I'm talking about is like a gate. And it'd be a good deal for all year round. Instead of having to bring in them barricades and take them away. Bring them in, take them away. A gate there is, you let MDOT know it's going to possibly close the road. 72-hour notice, and you shut the gate with a sign on it, temporary closed. Here 22 years ago, I'm still watching traffic. I put in a suggestion of putting an off-ramp on the Independence Bridge, which would take you from just after you cross, coming south, you would go down off to the right and get on Johnson Street. And one of the reasons I brought to my attention of this is I went down to City Hall right here and asked them, what is your 2 most accident intersections in the city? The first one was Trumbull and Center. The second one was Trumbull and Woodside. Bingo, guess what, gang? There was a problem. Then they went through the revitalization of Center Avenue, where they redid Center. After that, nothing occurred. A lot of conversations, and well, we can't do that because there's a settlement between the General Motors, Bay City, and the DNR. I said, that's fine, but you were trying to sell that property to Andy Wilson to put in a marina there. I just got a kind of a sad look when I told them that. They didn't think I knew that. What happened to the upset the ground there. Well, that wasn't true. The end results, we end up in BCATS, Tom Hickner, MDOT, Terry Spiegel from Hampton Township, John Gatos, which was a city engineer here. And after all the conversations, the answer was, Mr. Gatos says, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but there is no money. Well, that's been a problem in the city for years. I mean, no money. But I was looking for someone to take the initiative on the safety grant. And if someone took the initiative for a safety grant, because you have the two highest intersections in the city that are accidents, a lot of people came to me and said, well, Euclid and Euclid and Wilder is not in the city. I'm not concerned about the township. Let them take care of it. I was worried about the city. I live here. But if somebody would have taken the initiative to seek a safety grant, we probably might have an off-ramp would take you down to Johnson Street. And that was, things are changing every year. But my main point is, when someone brings something to you, don't just find every excuse not to. Find every excuse why to. And you start thinking about not having to go move them barricades. How many times a year? Every concert.
Excuse
4th
me,
of July.
sir, your 5 minutes are up.
No problem. Thank you.
Commissioner Nedzveski.
I'd like to make a motion to give Mr. Spencer 2 more minutes if you have some more things to say.
I probably don't need that much time, but I appreciate that. But
Is there a second? Sorry, 1 second, Mr. Spencer. Commissioner Jarrett.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Seeing
But-
none.
I appreciate that, but I'm probably just about done. But it's if you just sit back and not worry about the big thing, it's all these little things that make a big thing. And our city employees have to move the barricades and stuff, and we could send the police over here, shut the gate at 12 o'clock at midnight. 72 hours are up. Or MDOT, we possibly might have to shut that gate in 72 hours. Possibly. And MDOT was real. When I dealt with them 20 years ago, or 22 years ago, they were very understanding. But that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Chesney from 2314 Vina Court. Most of you probably remember me from when we did open interviews for the Second Ward City Commission position, but I just wanted to let you guys all know that I am going to be running for 2024's Second Ward City Commission, so I hope to be working with a lot of you guys in the future. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Are there any others? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to public hearings, and I believe we have 2. Yes. This is the opportunity for the citizens to address commission regarding public hearing number 1, dangerous building hearing, 820 South Jefferson Street, and public hearing number 2, resolution supporting MDNR Waterways Grant Application 2024B dock replacement. Is there a motion to allow for public hearings, public hearing 1? Commissioner Gerard.
You want to take them separately then? No, okay, I'm going to make a motion to allow for public hearing number 1 on dangerous building hearing on 820 South Jefferson, and public hearing number 2, resolution supporting MDNR Waterways Grant Application 2024B dock replacement.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Brenner?
Second.
Thank you. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak, and Commissioner Clements will serve as the timekeeper. If anyone wishes to address the Commission regarding public hearing item number 1, please come forward, sign the registration sheet, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Matt Custis. I'm the resident of 820 South Jefferson. My garage has been vandalized periodically since 2013. Police department and we had a talk back then about people vandalizing the property. I had a good idea who was behind it, my ex-business partner, and I had some other people in the neighborhood. Well, the garage is in real rough shape. Just this past week, somebody went into the garage and was lucky they didn't bring the place down on them, and they sheared 2 beams that are attached to the spring that holds the garage door. So I went in with a 4x4 and rebraced that part of the garage. The biggest thing is the garage would have been already repaired years ago when this came apart if I get basic PD to go into the premises and give me a police report under the 703-505, 45, it's 6700. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs gave me a direct order not to proceed and act in any way, commit any acts of aggression, or commit any felonies, or they can come pick me up. So the garage has been vandalized, that's a felony. It weakened the structure to cause the structure to collapse. There's an electric conduit system in that garage as well. They use my own propane torch that's no longer at my residence to burn the shingles that cause the shingles to deteriorate, and they have went and did other damage to 820 South Jefferson over the period of time. Have I caught them? No, I caught them talking about it. The lady lives across the street, sat there and watched them burn my shingles. I just got told that when I entered my property that somebody did a number to my garage. So I took a look, and I looked, and I seen it went down 6 inches, went out there, took a look at it, went inside the garage where they already took the door, and the door jamb completely incinerated from knocking it down, and went in and repaired it. I need a police report. I get a police report, and I can start with the mortgage company that owns the contract. They own the insurance company on the premises. So before I can hand them the information, I need a police report. I already been to call the police department when it was another mortgage company had the contract. And I talked to the police department, and they said I had to get one here before I can go there. So somebody needs to order basic PD to go over to my house, give me a piece of paper saying my property's been vandalized, where I can hand it to Reno, Nevada, where now the mortgage company at, and they will be the ones to issue a repair list, or I can repair it. But right now, I just was at ReadyMed for a back injury, and shortly after, 2 weeks after that, my employer choose not to write the work order to get your back checked out, x-rays and whatnot. 2 weeks later, I contacted the Justice Department in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. doesn't like handling me. There's a big old history, but they don't have a choice. Issue here is somebody needs to contact Basic PD, get them over to my residence. If they do not, and if somebody comes to my house, knocks on my garage down with my car sitting in that garage, there's a 1984 Corvette that was stuck underneath me that caused the accident. People actually vandalized 10 people out in the parking lot where I work at. They had the transmitter to get in and out of the vehicle, and that car made it out of the driveway where I work, down the road about 100 yards, ended up in the ditch. So it comes right down to it. Bay C is not looking too good. And I already contacted 2 media groups in the area about the situation. I need a police report. I cannot commit a felony by going in the garage and physically fixing the garage is covering up physical evidence and situations that I cannot get involved in. So if nobody believes it, they can contact the Pentagon. They got my name. They know it. They got to put the 878-0940 into the computer, their same area code, and that'll bring me right up. And the data file of all the people that did a horse crap against me will also file with that as well. That's the only thing I need to say. I need a police report. Somebody needs to order them to do the job, or it's going to escalate. And if I get in trouble, well, I get pulled out of the area by the Pentagon, which direct order on me, stating if I get involved in anything, if I do anything, I'm done. I'll never be able to come home. That's not an option. So somebody needs to do something. If nobody does anything, then I'm going to contact the 703 area code and talk to the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs, which I don't have. Is Mary Lee still the chairman? See, the one I dealt with was Martin Dumpy. Yeah, so me and Martin Dumpy left on bad terms. And shortly after, 3 years later, I threw a hot brief to the White House. Now you know what president was.
Excuse me, sir, your time is up.
All right. But somebody needs to get stamping.
Thank you. Are there any others? Seeing none, is there a motion to, I'm sorry. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak on public hearing number 2. Commissioner Clements will serve as the timekeeper again. Does anyone want to come forward on that? Seeing none, we'll move on to special orders. Next order of business is special orders. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Special order number 1, Commission as a whole resolution approving the order of dangerous building hearing officer regarding 820 South Jefferson Street. Recommendation approve.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Gerard.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Brenner.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Gerard.
Yes, through the chair of the city manager. Could staff come forward and just kind of give an overview? I know we heard from the gentleman who owns the property, but it just, there's some confusion there, obviously.
Agree. Yep, Sue Coggin can come up. I guess figure out what kind of questions we have. This garage has been in disrepair since I started at the city, so it's been about 10 years. We attempted to work through the court systems originally with the property owner to get this repaired and also have some vehicles removed off the property, which the vehicles were taken care of. When we didn't get we got all the way through the court system and there was nothing else to do but to do a bench warrant, and obviously that doesn't help anything. So we decided to start the dangerous hearing process. In this whole process, nothing has ever been done. If you go out to the property now, the roof is actually collapsing more. Went through the dangerous hearing process. The property owner did secure a building permit in order to repair it, went with our, talked to our building inspectors, had 180 days in order to try to repair this. And again, it's the roof. It's not the whole structure. It's the roof that's collapsing. No work was done at all in the 180 days. Our building department even tried to get a hold of him to say that his permit had expired to try to see if he wanted to extend it, and nothing had happened. So that's why we felt we should continue with this, because the longer we go, this roof is collapsing in on itself. The police report, the things that he's talking about, we've never been able to track down any type of activity regarding something happening to this accessory structure, so hence we continued with the dangerous building process. That's where we are today, because there just isn't anything being done with this structure.
Just a couple questions. So on the time frame, so you said 10 years, so when did we get involved? When did we start this process?
The court case itself, we would have started probably, I'm thinking that was about 6 years ago, and went through that process, which took about 1.5 years by the time you have court hearings and show cause hearings. The dangerous building would have been started almost 2 years ago, because again, the property owner did secure a building permit in order to repair the roof. So I want to say a total of about 7 years.
So it's primarily roof, the roof's collapsing on itself, the other parts of the structures, is it potentially could fall in though, or is that sound?
When the building inspector was out there originally, and again, this was prior to the original permit being secured, they felt it was the roof that was the main structure. The walls themselves were in pretty good shape. The permit was to actually replace and/or repair the roof.
Thank you. That's all I have. We hear frequently, though, on blight and things like this, and people, and I feel for the gentleman who came and spoke. I do have some concerns, though, that, they continue to push, and we kind of let go. I'm very concerned about that not taking care of these blighted things and dangerous issues. We kind of say we want to take care of them, but then we don't when the opportunity comes. So I guess I'm going to vote yes on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others? I have one quick question. If this passes, will the gentleman be allowed to remove his belongings from the structure?
Absolutely. He still has 60 days from the date that the commission approves it to still bring the property into compliance and/or remove everything. Any time that we work on an accessory structure, we allow people the time to get everything out that they would like to get out. So he would get ample notice. Let's say we did get to the demolition, what day our demolition crews will be there, and give him lots of notice to be able to take out anything that he needs to take out.
Okay, so no criminal issues or anything going in? Okay, just wanted to
Absolutely
have
not.
that on the record. Thank you. Any others? Okay. Thank you very much. Seeing none, we will move on to the next order of business, which is
We have to
we have to
call
vote.
roll.
I'm sorry. We should vote on this. That's probably a good idea. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Commissioner Haliker,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Izetsky,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Docket,
Yes.
Rivet,
Yes.
and Brunner.
Yes.
7 yes.
The motion is adopted. Apologize for that. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Special order number 2, commission as a whole resolution approving the terms of the MDNR Waterways Grant Agreement for Liberty Harbor B-Dock replacement and the estimated city's portion of $495,000. Recommendation approved.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Clements?
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Nedzveski?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Rivet?
Are we in the hearing, or is there discussion on a plan?
This is the discussion on special order number 2. So after the discussion, we would vote.
I'd be interested in knowing where the money's coming from. Another $500,000? We're already deficit spending next year?
So this is just the application, and this will be in the 2025 budget, and it'll probably come out of the Public Improvement Fund.
And there's a $500,000 surplus? Because we're taking another $500,000 out tonight.
When we, at the end of the budget year, we put our funds that are left over, our revenues over expenditures, into that fund. If there isn't money in that fund, then we won't get the grant. We'll approach it then, but this is the grant process.
All set? Are there any others? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt or approve special order number 2?
Commissioner Gerard,
Yes.
Izetsky,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Docket,
Yes.
Rivet,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Haliker.
Yes.
7 yes.
So the motion is approved, and we have one more item tonight on the agenda. Will the clerk please call the next item on the agenda?
Reports of officers 4, city manager recommending budget amendments in the amount of $578,352 for the fiscal year 23-24 budget. Recommendation approved.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Brenner.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Gerard.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Rivet.
Just want to know where the $586,000 coming from.
In the cover rec, it shows that there's $560,000 coming from the Public Improvement Fund.
How much is in the fund?
I don't know if it's on the, I'm looking at.
Ballpark, Manager Muscat. Just
I
give me
don't know a
ball.
ballpark. Sorry. I'm sorry, George, say that louder. Okay, 900,000.
All set? Thank you. Are there any others? All right. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to approve?
Commissioner Nisbetsky?
Yes.
Clements?
Yes.
Docket?
Yes.
Rivet?
Yes.
Brenner?
Yes.
Hilliker? Yes. Gerard?
Yes.
7 yes.
And the motion is adopted, or approved. Madam Clerk, does that complete the items on tonight's agenda? It does. Since all business has been completed, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.